Dr. Shane Reety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to speak today, the one-year anniversary from the general election, and talk about the superb progress this government has made. It's also a privilege to be part of a government that has brought forward the gains from the past and refreshed with some knowledge going forward. So many things to highlight, Mr. Speaker. This time last year, the majority of children under 13 were paying full general practice fees, and today they're not. I'm hearing from my colleagues and from constituents that this has been very well received. This time last year, Mr. Speaker, people were paying higher ACC motor vehicle levies, and today they're saving up to $130 a year. Paid parental leave increased from 14 to 16 weeks and eventually to 18 weeks, and hospices are receiving $20 million more in additional funding compared to last year. Now, this has certainly been noticed in my region and in my electorate in Whangarei and Northland, Mr. Speaker. Whangarei and the Northland electorate are seeing the benefits of this year of a John Key government. The latest ANZ annual report shows that economic activity had the strongest increase in the Northland region for the past quarter. If we look over the past year, Whangarei and Northland had the third highest annual growth rate behind Auckland and the Bay of Plenty. Northland also posted the strongest employment growth of all the regions in that quarter. Now, Mr. Speaker, I've heard the noise from New Zealand First today, and I've heard the noise from them before. In fact, about 6 months ago, probably March the 9th, about 11:45 a.m. actually, I was on my way into the mall in Whangarei and I heard a similar noise. In fact, I was quite worried by it. I thought someone had been hurt. And so I sped up a little bit. See, I was going to buy lunch, supporting local businesses. I sped up a little bit because I thought, maybe someone's been in the mall walking their pets or something. And I was right, it was Winston and the boys. You see, it was the by-election time. And in the middle of the mall is this boombox. And out of this boombox is coming the New Zealand First anthem. Help is on its way. An excellent song, Mr. Speaker, written in 1977 by Glenn Shorrock, the founder of Little River Band. Now, I've written a few songs myself, Mr. Speaker, for my own pleasure, nowhere near as good as this song. Nowhere near as good as this song. This is an excellent song. And what I've learnt, though, Mr. Speaker, as an amateur composer, is that the final version is never what you started with initially. One starts with a song name, and at each point it captures the mood in the moment, and then the song progresses and the name changes also. So I was interested if this song, Help is on its way, the New Zealand First anthem, had other names that captured the essence of New Zealand First. So what I did, I contacted the composer, Glenn Shorrock. I called him in Australia, I spoke with his management team, and I asked him that exact question. I said, what other names has Help is on its way been known as? Because I'm thinking that every name change and each version of the song is a version of New Zealand First. And that maybe the first title represented a New Zealand First leader's statement. But unfortunately, Michael Jackson had taken Man in the Mirror, so we needed to sort of keep on moving. Maybe the next version had a song title that is the New Zealand First leader's assessment of the party position. Maybe something like, It's My Party and I'll... Intuitive, Mr. Speaker. I didn't even need to say it. We all got it. And maybe the penultimate title is the leader's strategy for his deputy to do Ron. Mr. Speaker, the New Zealand First, this anthem, interestingly, is also the soundtrack to a movie. Who'd have thought? A Seth Rogen 2009 movie called Observe and Report, which, Mr. Speaker, is about an egocentric gentleman and a collection of people who bumble their way through life. Mr. Speaker, at 1 hour, 3 minutes and 8 seconds into this movie, the New Zealand First anthem plays. But I've figured this out. It's actually a cunning plan from New Zealand First, and I want to commend them for it. Their choice of song and the choice of movie is actually a cunning way to save the taxpayer money. And how this works, Mr. Speaker, is they'll be able to save on public relation costs, on narrating brochures and mail-outs, because the movie reviewers to New Zealand First, the movie, will do it for them. That's their cunning plan. The movie reviewers will write the New Zealand First story. So let's have a look at what they write about this New Zealand First movie, Observe and Report. Well, one of the biggest movie reviewing sites said this: it has a mean streak and does not cater to all tastes. Who'd have thought? The Sydney Morning Herald review really captures New Zealand First with this: much of the movie is just plain vicious. At best, it's sad and grotesque rather than hilarious. But really, you've got to give it to The Guardian. You've got to give it to the English, Mr. Speaker, because this is what they said about it. This charmless, heavy-handed and cynical comedy is an uncomfortable experience. It's an uncomfortable experience for New Zealanders as well, Mr. Speaker. This government has done well. This government is supporting Northland, Whangarei, and I'm pleased to be a part of this government.
Catherine Delahunty.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora te whare.